Now guys, I don't usually smoke, okay? So just for those of you who are thinking, oh, Thomas is doing it, so it's cool. It's not cool, it's terrible. But if I do smoke, it's because I'm celebrating 300,000 subscribers. And wow, I mean, that's just, honestly, I never dreamed of it. I didn't. I remember getting lunch with one of the Game Grumps. Well, he was a Game Grump at the time. His name was Kevin. He was the editor for the Game Grumps, and he came to South Carolina. That's where I am right now. I'm actually at my land. We have a 12-acre property that we purchased last year. And we were probably 15 minutes away, and we were getting lunch, and I said, hey man, do you think I'll ever get 150,000 subscribers? I don't know why that was the number in my head. Do you think I'll ever get there? And he said, absolutely. And here we are at 300,000 subscribers. So huge thank you to you guys. So let's crack this this open here. Or what am I trying to say? Let's smoke this sucker. And let's talk about, first off, I want to tell you the story of how this channel got to where it is and how you can replicate that, and honestly why you should try and replicate making a YouTube channel for your game studio. I want to talk about how I got here and sort of give you guys an idea of the grind that it takes to hit 300,000 subscribers. And by the way, I know I'm not like, I know I don't have 1 million subscribers, and I know it's not that impressive to hit 300,000 subscribers, but I'm excited. And I just want to tell you about how you get here and what the journey was like. I'm a pretty antisocial person. I'm also pretty insecure in a lot of ways. Like I'm pretty down on myself all the time. And so like 7-8 years ago, I never would have dreamed I'd be talking to a camera in the middle of the woods in front of 300,000 people, 300,000 subscribers. I never wanted to do any of that. I just wanted to make games. That's what I wanted to do, right? And I wanted to sit alone in my office and make games. But my brother-in-law, Matt, I believe it was my brother-in-law. And by the way, thank you, Matt, if it was you. He sort of pushed me to he said, make a video, just one video about how to make games. And I did that, and that was my first dedicated upload where I talked to a camera. I put some trailers up and stuff, but I would never talk to the camera. And I know a lot of you probably feel that way right now. You're like, man, I would suck on camera. And maybe there's been family in your life that made you feel insecure about who you are and your personality. And maybe you're too quirky or not even quirky, maybe you're just cringe. I'm pretty cringy a lot. And maybe you feel really, really weird. I felt that way. But there's something in me, it's like a little creature or something that's inside of me. And he's stubborn and competitive and rude and just obnoxious and always wants to get his way. This little thing inside of me, this little creature. And that's what pushed me to say, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And so despite feeling incredibly insecure, I said, let's do it. Let's make a video. And that video did really, really well. And I was surprised, and people really liked what they saw. And so the first sort of tip I want to tell you, as I continue telling the story, the first tip I want to give you is, you're not as silly as you think. And if you are silly or cringy or awkward, on YouTube, on social media, that's your advantage. The beauty, it's so funny, I love my family. They've been really supportive of me. I love my community. But sometimes, when I'm at a family get-together or some sort of party or a community event, I feel small and I'm really insecure. But you guys are always really encouraging. And my close family has been very encouraging, so it's not like they haven't been, but that insecurity isn't here very often when I'm talking to you guys. Because I'm super encouraged by you guys. So I just want to encourage all of you that just because you feel small in your local community and when you're home or when you're at school or at your desk job, it doesn't mean that your YouTube community that you slowly build is going to say the same thing. They're probably going to say the opposite. In fact, the more open and honest you are on YouTube and on social media, the more people are going to love you. Okay? So I kept making games. I made a game called Pinstripe that took 4 years. 5 total, if you count console. And that's really what I focused my energy on. And in my head, I was like, this is the only way to make money as a game developer. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll sometimes do videos on the side. Then my channel started to grow, and I started getting a little bit of revenue. And just by the way, PTSD, it's PSA, public service announcement, YouTube ad revenue sucks. Okay, I make about $1,000 a month, and I know that sounds like a lot, but I've got 300,000 subscribers, and I upload a lot of videos, and it's only $1,000 a month, and obviously you can't live on that, at least in America, right? So but at the time I was bringing in like $100 a month, and that was like 6 years ago. So you're making barely any money from YouTube ads, and then I started getting sponsorship offers, so I would take those. I would work with Skillshare or Udemy. I even took a raid something, whatever that annoying. I even sold out and bent over and I took a deal with them too. But I was just trying to make ends meet. Money started coming in slowly, and I was actually bringing in around $3,000 a month just from YouTube stuff. Sponsored videos and ad revenue. And I was like, whoa, like this is actually slowly picking up. And that's sort of, I sort of felt like that was my limit in terms of income potential and just like the reason you make YouTube videos. It's like supplemental income, right? My wife got pregnant, and she was, believe it or not, she was supporting us. Before we were making $4,000, she was supporting us, and we were living on her income, and then we had some savings. But I just sort of kept going, making games and making YouTube videos. And I would work sort of through the night because she worked night shifts, so I sort of aligned my schedule with hers. And I remember she came home one day and said that she was pregnant, and that was with our first child, Livian. And I remember just being really scared. And I sat down in the kitchen, and I said, it was like a week of knowing we were pregnant, and I just was like, I think I'm depressed. Or it was like anxiety and depression. It was just a mixture. And I've had trouble with that for as long as I can remember, honestly. And there was always this feeling in the back of my head, despite making some revenue from YouTube, and we would blow through the Kickstarter money. We would do Kickstarters, and then I would do Kickstarters, and then the money would be gone, because we were working on a game. And I remember just feeling like, man, I'm gonna have to go get a job, So it was, it was tight. Money was tight. But then I started to discover the secret. And the secret is this: having an audience is more valuable than gold. It's more valuable than cash. Which cash isn't really valuable anymore, is it? It's more valuable than crypto. Well, crypto is not valuable anymore either, is it? And that really does drive home my point, which is, guys, build a freaking audience. An audience is incredibly valuable. And here's why. A lot of you are building an indie game right now, and you have this dream of like, okay, if I sell this indie game and it does well, I'll make $50,000 and I can live on that and make my next game, right? The problem is, that's a big gamble, isn't it? To spend all your time, years, making games and hoping that it pays off. I think Jeff Walker, he's a digital entrepreneur. He wrote a book called Launch. I really like it. He calls it hope marketing, which is you build a digital product and you just hope and you pray that when you launch this thing, you make some money. That's called hope marketing. And you guys know I'm really passionate about marketing. So it's unsurprising that this conversation has landed at the marketing discussion. But with an audience, you don't have to hope. You really don't have to hope. And yes, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. You guys are profitable, right? An audience is profitable. Because, yeah, 99% of your subscribers won't give you a penny. But when you launch a game, when you launch a digital product, so for me, I've launched 2 games and I've also launched a digital product called Full-Time Game Dev, which is my course. And also we're planning on launching an asset on the asset store. When you have an audience, you can pretty much guarantee that your audience is going to support you. So first off, guys, I just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you so much for supporting, frankly, my dreams. And by the way, I don't sit on my property here to go, look at me, look at me. I'm trying to show you, like, this is why building an audience is so important. This is why 6-7 years of building this YouTube channel is so important. Because it gives you the opportunity to say, you know what? I feel like making a new game. You know what? I feel like making a digital product, like a school or an online course or a coaching program. You know what? I feel like making an asset pack today. Or for me, you know what? I feel like making short horror movies. The reason I get to do this, guys, the reason I am free. Like, I'm completely free to do what I want. The reason is because I prioritized putting an audience together, building an audience across all social media platforms and also an email list. It's like 370,000 people total. And a lot of those might be crossovers. But the reason I prioritized that is because I think deep down, I knew that an audience is more valuable than gold. It allows you to do whatever you want. Any creative drive you have, that audience, or at least a portion of it, will be there to support you. Now, time for a shout out. I want you guys to, one, build your own channels, and maybe one day I'll give you a shout out for your channel. But I want to shout out some channels I just really love and that have really supported me and that you guys should go and check out. And after I do this shout out, I'm going to give you some tips on starting your own channel, okay? Pawnee Pants. Pawnee Pants gets my #1 vote. Haven't met Pawnee Pants. I really want to meet Pawnee Pants, but Pawnee Pants gets my #1 vote. I love Pawnee Pants' style. I love his videos. I love how informative and entertaining they are. And I just got to give the guy credit because he's making an awesome game. So I highly suggest, and the link is in the description, to follow Pawnee Pants. Noah and his brother at Blackthorn Prod, that's #2 for me. And the reason why is because Noah has been there for me for the last 4 years, I think. Anytime I have questions, just reach out to him on Discord. Anytime I want to get advice or encouragement, I know that Noah will be there. Just the nicest guy. So I highly suggest following Blackthorn Prod. That's Noah and his brother. Great channel. But honestly, like, tied with second place, but I hate maybe third place, but honestly, it's probably tied, is David RB. I mean, David, how are you doing this? David's game, Arcadian Rift, is glorious, beautiful game. And it's great because, you know, Noah has these 2D games and then David has these 3D games. Both of you guys are incredibly impressive. So go follow David RB. If you're into 3D games and Unreal, David is your guy. So link in the description for David. Sadly, the other David, that is number 4, although to be honest, sometimes I want him to be number 1. Sadly, he quit doing YouTube. But David Whaley, I mean, good grief. David Whaley his channel is called Game Dev Unlocked. And, you know, he is an incredibly talented developer. He made a game called The First Tree. But I just really like how humble and honest he is. Anytime I'm feeling cocky, that inner monster inside of me that's getting cocky or snarky or greedy, I think about David. He's just a really moral guy. He's got a sweet personality and he's a really good friend, and man, he's been there for me so much. You know what's sad is, like, all of these guys, I feel like I haven't given back to them. You know, they've been so encouraging to me and I haven't really given much to them. So anyway, just check those out below. And then finally, man, I always mess up your name. He's a student of mine at my school, full-time game dev, but Andrej, Andrew, Andy, Andre, however you say your name. He's got a small channel right now, but he is figuring out YouTube. And he's also figuring out game development. He made a game called Air Obscura, and he admitted that it didn't do very well. And that's okay, you know? That's one of his very first games. And he's just so honest, and I just want to see him succeed. So if you guys want to click below to subscribe to Andrej, Andrew, it would really mean a lot to me because he's been very encouraging to me as well. So those are just some channels that I'm just super duper, you know, jealous of in a lot of ways, because their personalities are so genuine and so good, and they're just good people. So be sure to subscribe below to them. Now finally, I want to leave you guys with some tips. The first one is, I was in San Francisco 2 days ago. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm in South Carolina. Flew all the way out to San Francisco with my wife to go to hang out with the Unity CEO. His name is John. And he's just the sweetest guy. I really like John a lot. You'd think a CEO of, he used to be, I think, CEO of EA Games, or at the very least COO. You'd think that he'd be kind of a jerk, honestly. But he's so nice. He was so nice to me. But anyway, I got to hang out with him, and also some developers, and we did like a lecture or a fireside chat, kind of like this. It's just me and him with some Unity developers in front of us, and I met some Unity developers, and some of them said stuff that kind of was discouraging to me. A lot of them were very encouraging and you know, big dreamers, but some of them said, Thomas, you have this big channel, you don't understand how hard it is, you don't understand the bubble you're in. And my encouragement to you guys is to not think that way. And I know a lot of you are in parts of the world that it's difficult. I can certainly understand that being a challenge. Just because YouTube is primarily English, the audience, I would just encourage you that it takes a long time. It takes a long time to build a YouTube channel and to get to the point where you're smoking cigarettes celebrating 300,000 subscribers. It takes a long time. So, frankly, don't be greedy and don't be selfish and impatient. Takes a long time, okay? Do you want $1 million? Well, it's gonna take, I feel like Michael Scott. For some reason, that just reminded me of Michael Scott. Do you want $1 million? It's gonna take you a long time to get there, all right? The same is true with building an audience. And again, an audience is more valuable than cash. So it's gonna take you a long time. As Mr. Beast says, I think he said, if you don't have 100 videos, you're not a YouTuber. I think that's totally true. I think that's totally true. Stick with it. Your first 100 videos or whatever, they're gonna be trash. And that's okay. That's okay. Start building your audience. All right? And by the way, guys, I've heard through the grapevine, I think it was somebody at Unity headquarters said that YouTube is growing like crazy in the game dev sphere. Same is true with Twitch. So if you're a game developer, start building your audience, okay? Here's a quick tip. If you want to see some growth, start copying other channels. If I'm being completely blunt and honest with you, at least copy the topics, the titles, and kind of the thumbnail style, and obviously put your own spin on the actual content itself. But do if you want to see fast growth, do what other channels are doing, okay? And like clockwork, YouTube's going to start pushing your content. It takes a while, but it's definitely some advice that I took, which is just start looking at what's popular and replicate that. Doesn't mean don't be yourself. It doesn't mean steal. I know I said copy, but you know what I mean. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for 300,000 subscribers. It means the world to me. And click below to subscribe to those channels, all right? I love these guys, and I love you guys so much. This is a dream come true. It's the middle of my work day. I should be making games. But I get to do what I want, right? Because I spent honestly, it's been 15 years of just grunt work, building up my studio and my channel. And I encourage you guys to be patient and do the same, okay? I love y'all. Take it easy. Cheers. Don't smoke. It's just a celebration cig. All right, chill. It's really nice too. I wish it didn't cause cancer. Then we could all be living in the Mad Men life, you know? I could be Don Draper all day.